Clean Label, dealing with food series. I see in like label that says no GMO. Oh, it's a milk product, no GMO. Wow. Okay. Ice cream, no GMO. Or, clean label. That means what they're trying to do is get rid of the long molecule name on something, which can be quite, 20 letters. Yes. And they're trying to bring this down where it's a universal language. It's also trying to do is reduce the amount of ingredients in a product. And if you look at some of this stuff you look at the stuff that says, why is this? Oh, well, there's multi-sugars in it, multi-salts in it. Multi-salts? Yes, there's multi-salts in it. And of course, it will be labeled may contain tree nuts. Oh, this ice cream may contain tree nuts? Yes, vanilla, or chocolate, or strawberry. How does the strawberry become a tree nut? Hey, protection. And it's trying to keep. Now, it's one of the reasons I don't like buying food from foreign countries, because you never know what the stuff is. What they list may not even be in the product. Well, what they list on the label may not even be in the product. Or it might be misstrewn to be in the product, something else. You can't trust it. I even say that too. Even if the FDA is sitting there, USDA is sitting in the plant, there's different standards. It's like, will I go out and buy French wine? No, because this last year, no, because no French wine was made because it was too dry. It didn't rain. Champagne. Boop. But if you go to England, right, different things. Now, why would I say I wouldn't buy French wine? Because what is on a lot of French wine areas originally were cattle ranches. And they had a problem with anthrax in the soil. So animals were dying. Sheep were dying, goats were dying. So they had to switch to something. Wine. Oh, it's a great growing season for wine. Well, last year in France, it was a bad season for growing wine, if anything grew at all. Too dry. The conditions weren't right. It was too hot, too dry. And in other places, some of the places, it was too wet. Mold. Yeah. Too water, too much moisture, too wet, too soaky, and that thing. But as the thing is in foreign language, even with, we know a lot of stuff is how the stuff was made. Sausages. How did they kill the bacteria in sausages? Did they use the nitrates? Or did they use something else? And anything coming from India, God wants me. Hey, what can I do? But keeping it clean is one of the biggest problems, and labeling things and that thing. And now I go and only buy at Restaurant Depot a select brand. I don't. If I want tuna fish, I'm looking for U.S. caught tuna fish. If I'm looking at peas, carrots, what that thing. I look at a brand name that I'm used to seeing. Off-brand names, I can't, even though off-brand names, and it could be anything, and off-brand names may be mislabeled too. I'm looking for the American brand on it. Well, I used to work for Kraft. Kraft owns has co-packers all over the world and in the United States. And it would be, let's say you're in Korea. Kraft products are go for a premium price in countries. And as someone said, the U.S. military bases have Kraft stuff, and they have a hard time keeping their shelves full. And products that you will find on U.S. military bases, like in Iraq, like in Afghanistan, bacon bits. For some reason, bacon bits people wanted bacon bits. And they said, well, this is a Muslim country. What do you mean? These people are all Muslims. What do they do with bacon? Throw at their enemies. Yes. Think if you were at a wedding, you're an enemy, you throw at your enemy. The enemy has died, you take bacon bits and you sprinkle it on the body or the coffin. Prevents the soul from rising to heaven. They do things like that. They do things like that. Something like spitting onto someone's grave. Oh, yes. But again, you're finding out, and you're going into foreign countries where you have to make sure what's on the label is on the label, because they have their own health department stuff, and what's on the label has to be that thing, and it might be forbidden in their country. It cannot be seen outside of a military base. Military veterinarians are basically food inspectors, and they will look at a co-packer's plant, and if a co-packer plant doesn't pass muster with them, the military, U.S. military, can void the contract, and Kraft does not like that. And I worked for co-packers for Kraft products at one place, and I told one of my friends at Kraft is to run the product through a gas chromatographer. Yeah, I told him, you're getting a product from these people, run it through a gas chromatographer. He said, why? Just do it. I'm sworn to secrecy. When I walk into a food company, working at a food company, I sign the little stuff there. But since I own stock at, I want to make sure that they follow the rules. And sometimes why I'm hired by these companies is because I was a Kraft employee, and I happen to know the ins and outs. And they usually hire me in R&D for a few months, and to make sure that they're doing it right, because they want that contract, and that contract can be very, very big. Yeah, so it's keeping everything clean. That is hard. That is really hard in the business, because not only what the co-packer is making, but you have to make sure that the supplier to the co-packer is up to snuff. And when they're not up to snuff, that means, say, a Kraft product is not up to snuff, and that becomes a problem. And since I worked in R&D and consumer complaints and consumer like this, there are vendors who basically cut corners. And that's why you got an R&D Kraft, and any new product, any new item coming into the Kraft Kraft system as a co-packer has to clear mustard with Kraft R&D. Yes. Yes. And there are some horror stories of vendors cutting corners. And we catch them, or when I ever catch them. But that's keeping it clean.